Hi everyone, my name is Kylie James. I am a certified nutritionist and registered occupational therapist at Curry Nutrition Inc. I'm excited to talk to you today about the ketogenic diet. So that's our theme this month at Curry Nutrition. The keto diet has gained a lot of popularity in recent years because of its amazing weight loss. Um, but it's a very difficult diet to do and it's very structured. So I wanted this opportunity to speak to you guys today about how to get started on the keto diet and how to avoid some of those pitfalls that can make you have the negative effects of the keto. I do find the ketogenic diet very fascinating because there's a lot of positives, but there's actually a dark side to keto as well. So we're going to touch on some of those today, but not all of them. So let's get started. So one of the big issues is consuming too much dairy. So people think, okay, I'm going to do the keto, so let's stock up on a lot of milk and creams and stuff like that because it's high in fat. And yes, it is high in fat, but dairy also contains the sugar lactose, which is a carbohydrate. So consuming too much of that dairy and that lactose may not be the best form of fat to be consuming on the keto diet. The other issue is dairy is inflammatory. So it can actually contribute to symptoms such as pain, digestive issues, and other inflammatory problems as well. But also too, dairy is acidic to the body, and the ketogenic diet overall is an acidic diet. So we really want to offset that, which I'm going to talk to you shortly about. The other thing about dairy is it's very high on the allergenic profile. So dairy and gluten are the big ones. So sometimes if you're consuming too much dairy, you can get food intolerances or you may have food allergies as well. So something to be mindful of. I know some people that have done ketogenic diet and has actually put on weight. And one of the reasons being is that they consumed too much dairy. So it's okay to consume a little bit of dairy on the keto. So just consume it in moderation, but you really want to look at good quality sources. So trying to get organic as much as possible. And the reason being is that toxins and hormones and pesticides and herbicides from the grains that the cows are consuming, all those toxins are kept and stored in fat cells. So you want to try and do grass-fed, organic, and even focusing on better dairy sources such as goat and sheep's products may also be better than focusing on the cow products. The other thing is getting enough vegetables. So when you're on the ketogenic diet, you're pretty much eliminating all grains, you're eliminating those starchy vegetables and pretty much all fruits. You can have your lemons and your limes and your berries, but pretty much fruits are off the table. So when you're taking out so many of those food groups, you're really limiting that variety and you put yourself at risk of nutrient deficiencies. So an individual may be focused on consuming enough fats and restricting carbs, but they tend to forget about consuming all those vegetables. So as I mentioned before, the keto diet is very acidic. It's a lot of red processed meats, dairy, eggs, nuts. They're all acidic to the body. And that acidity, if it's in high levels, it'll change our natural pH levels. And that can contribute to fatigue, gut issues, pathogen overgrowth, such as like bacteria overgrowth, candida overgrowth, pain, and headaches. And the other thing, if you are quite acidic, your body is going to leach calcium and magnesium from the bones into the bloodstream to buffer that acidity level. So we really want to consume green vegetables because they're very alkalinizing to the body. They're very low in calories, so great for weight loss, and they're also very nutrient dense. So a lot of those cruciferous vegetables, which are great for the liver, they're anti-cancer. So that's your broccoli, your cauliflower, your Brussels sprouts, your asparagus, and also lots of those dark leafy greens like your Swiss chard, your bok choy, your mustard greens, arugula, spinach, and kale. You also want to stay hydrated when you do the ketogenic diet. Now, the reason being is the metabolic process of burning ketones and actually getting into ketosis requires you to drink a lot more water. So when you first start doing the ketogenic diet, you're limiting your carbs, so your body starts using up your glycogen storage. And when it does that, glycogen is always paired with water. So when your glycogen stores are being released, so too is water. You're getting that water flushed out of your system. And so you'll find in those first couple of weeks, you tend to be going to the washroom a lot. So you really need to be replacing those fluids with lots of water and maybe some electrolyte drinks such as coconut water as well. Number 4, consuming the right fats and enough fats. You'll probably find that being on the ketogenic diet, you might find it's quite difficult to get that 70% ratio of fat into your diet. And you also want to get those right kind of fats. So the best kind of fats is like your avocados, your olives, your olive oil, your free-range eggs, those raw nuts and seeds, your healthy oils like walnut oil, sesame seed oil, avocado oil, getting those good fish in such as mackerel, sardines, tuna, salmon, your grass-fed beef and butter, and of course, coconut oil, lots of coconut oil. It's very easy to do a keto the wrong way and do like what we call like a dirty keto, which is like your bacon, your processed deli meats, and your soft cheeses. So these are all high and processed. They're very highly processed. They contain additives and preservatives that can be in fact detrimental to your health if they're consumed in large amounts. So again, you really want to do your homework to make sure you're eating those right kind of fats. The other thing is, so with the ketogenic diet, you need 70% fat, 20% protein, and 10% carbs. So 20% protein, people think, okay, especially a lot of guys like, this is great, the keto diet, I can do a lot of red meat and stuff like that. And yes, eating meat is good, but you don't want to eat too much because you don't want to hit over 30% of protein because that's going to kick you out of ketosis. And the reason being is that protein in those higher amounts actually get broken down and converted into glucose. And glucose is obviously going to tip you out of ketosis. So the other thing about protein, you want to get good, healthy sources. So grass-fed beef, try to get organic, much better because like I said, the toxins of the animal is going to be stored in the fat cells of the animals. So trying to get those cleaner sources of meat are definitely important. So let's look at strategies on how to be successful on the keto diet. Number 1, get educated. Like I said, the keto diet is very difficult and very different from mainstream Western diet, which is a lot of breads and cereals and pastas and muffins and cakes and stuff like that. So get educated on the pros and cons of the diet. Like I said before, there's a lot of positive things with the diet, and you can look on our YouTube channel when I talked about some of the health benefits. But there's also a dark side of keto, especially if you do it the wrong way. So get educated on the pros and cons. You also want to get educated on how to implement the diet. You need to sort of plan out what you need to do to really understand what it's going to entail. You also want to have a good understanding of the foods that you can consume and the foods that you need to avoid. It's very easy, like I said, you can get wrapped up in consuming lots of bacon and deli meats, which are not nutrient dense and are not going to serve your health. And also too, with some of the vegetables, there's those starchy vegetables that you need to avoid on the diet. But you also want to see, is this diet appropriate for you? There's a lot of health benefits to doing the keto, and it can actually help with a lot of health conditions, but it actually can be detrimental to others. So really look into it and see if it's appropriate for you. You may want to look at a health professional like a nutritionist and a dietitian to walk you through to make sure A, you're doing it the right way, and B, to see if it is appropriate for you. You also need to be prepared before you start the diet. So go through, like I said, get educated on the foods you can have and the foods to avoid, but you also want to sort of go through your cupboards and your fridge and start clearing out those non-keto friendly foods. Especially in the beginning stages, when you're transitioning from being burning carbs to burning ketones, you're going to feel a bit miserable. The keto flu is a common symptom that occurs when you're trying to transition from into ketosis, and it can leave you feeling tired, grumpy, and craving like sugars and carbs. So you really want to get those out of the house to avoid those sort of temptations. And then you really want to start stocking your fridge and your pantry, like I said, with those coconut oils, those avocados, those raw nuts and seeds to get ready to implement the ketogenic diet. Also, you want to do meal planning for the week. Like I said, it's a big adjustment from eating a typical standard American diet to eating 70% fat, 20% protein, and only 10% carbs. So you really want to sort of maybe do some meal planning, getting recipes together to make sure that you're prepared. So I've listed here some resources that I find have been really good at helping people implement the ketogenic diet. So the dietdoctor.com has a plethora of videos on the keto diet, intermittent fasting, foods to have, the keto flu, but it's also got a huge repertoire of recipes. And you can also create a weekly meal plan, and it populates a grocery list for you. The only thing is it's a monthly fee, but it's a great resource. The other great resource is Leanne Vogel, and you can see her on healthfulpursuit.com. She tends to have a paleo-based keto, so a nice keto, clean keto-based diet. She does lots of podcasts and videos, so a great resource to help get you educated. And she also has a ton of recipes on there as well. And also you can visit our website, macronutrient.com. We do have a 7-day weekly meal plan with the accompanying grocery list for a minimal fee. So you can go onto our website and get that as well. Number 4, recruit support. Change is always a challenge. So having the support of a spouse, of friends, of other family members to do the diet with you is a great way to help keep you on track, keep you motivated, especially in those beginning stages when you might feel a little bit crappy. And it's going to be really difficult to be successful on the diet if your whole household is still loading up on the potatoes and the pasta and the pizza. So if you can recruit someone within the home, that is great. Now, if you can't recruit anyone, that's okay. You just need to be creative in the meals that you serve so it can actually cater to the whole family. So a great option is, say, if you're making like a keto friendly salad, say like a Greek Caesar chicken salad, but you serve it with boiled roast potatoes on the side to cater for the rest of the family. This is just an example how you can sort of be a win-win with yourself and the family. But if this is a real struggle with family and kids and spouse, maybe you're recruiting the assistance of a health professional, such as a nutritionist or a dietitian, to help with that menu planning, can really take that stress out of meal times. This is a real big one, tracking your macros. Tracking the macros is really important because, like I said, you will find it'll be very hard for you to hit that 70% and very hard to keep your carbs under 10%. So you definitely find when you track it, you'll see what you eat, how much it impacts those ratios. So I use MyFitnessPal, but Chronometer is great as well. It's a great app that tracks and you can do it in different types of keto styles, so very strict keto, loose keto, so you can manipulate those numbers. So I find they're great because you can track calories and nutrients as well, and you can pull recipes from websites or put your recipes in there as well. It's a great visualize just to see if you're hitting those macros, but it's a great learning tool to understand meal combinations. Like I found when I consumed salmon, it was really like, yes, it's high in fat, but it's a lot more protein. And definitely when making salads and putting like just a tablespoon of olive oil on, just how much my fat content and ratio went up. And last but not least is tracking ketosis. So the whole idea about doing the ketogenic diet is getting into ketosis. So you really need to make sure and check, especially in those beginning stages, of when you get into ketosis and how you can maintain it. Because you can move in and out of ketosis based on what you're consuming. If you're not hitting those macros, maybe you need to be a bit more stricter. And these keto strips you can get at your local drugstore or pharmacy. It's just a simple urine sample test where you just pee on the stick and you can see, just tracking the colors on the side, whether you're not in ketosis, trace, mild, moderate, or significant. Now, you can do blood tests as well. They're a lot more effective and accurate, but they're also a lot more expensive. So definitely the urine tests I recommend as a good baseline to track where you're at. You don't need to do this long term, but I think definitely in the beginning it's important just for you to understand your body and what works and how to get into that ketosis state. So that's my presentation today. If you have any questions with regards to the ketogenic diet, please feel free to reach out to me. We have resources on our website and on our Facebook page as well. So thanks very much, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.